Welcome to CineBites, a cinematic culinary podcast where we experience the wonders and beauty of cinema with our eyes and explore the unique and glorious cuisine in those films with our taste buds. Today we're entering the heart of Middle-earth one last time with Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. Get ready to savor the grand finale of our cinematic feast as we explore the epic connections between film and food in this triumphant tale. So raise your goblet, prepare your hobbit-sized feast, and let's dive into a world where movies and meals unite in the most epic way possible. Feast your eyes.
All right,
welcome
of the marathon.
Welcome, peasant.
Jester. Is a pester? No, a pester. Is a peasant a jester? Or no? I think a jester probably has a higher status because they're.
You're my peasant.
Dang. Then I won't do the jester jig.
Well, I'm gonna admit you're my peasant jester.
Okay, a peasant. Okay, so I'm a jester that hangs out around the kingdom, and you just make me do stuff. So what we were talking about at the end of the last episode was the Skittles, where it's like berries and cream, berries and cream. And I didn't want to say too much in the last episode because that would have ruined the meal for this one, which is the dessert. I didn't want to give out too much. And we can get into that in a second. But every time that you say, should
I say what should my phrase be?
You should say, Jester, get jiggy with it. And then I'll just say, berries and cream, berries and cream.
Not just say, you have to get up and dance.
I gotta get up and dance too?
Yes!
Okay, I'll do it.
It doesn't have to be for very long.
Okay. It'll just be like one clap.
Jester, get jiggy with it.
Berries and cream, berries and cream. Is that? I'll do that.
I'll allow it.
Okay.
I'll allow it.
Can I still stay in the castle?
Sure, I'll allow it.
It's cold
for
outside.
But yeah, we're going into The Return of the King, the third Lord of the Rings film. I am the king and I have returned.
Yeah.
For this episode.
Yes.
So
Your Majesty.
Yes. So what do I have to say about this?
About Return of the King?
Yes, I don't know how to start this. Where do we start to say about it?
Well,
this is both of our middle film of these three.
Yeah. Even though from, I guess, a film critic's viewpoint, based on the nominations and the wins that it had, would disagree and probably say this is higher up out of the three. They're all pretty close.
They're all very close. They're all very good.
But I mean, it definitely does wrap up. It wraps up the chapter. Brings it all together. Kind of, you see some harmony towards the end. You see some losses. But it's really a good way to just kind of finish the story. Even though they later release, which The Hobbit was pre this time period, and then you have the new series of Lord of the Rings. But this was like for this era, this was the end of it. And they ended it in such a good fashion, and I think that was so. Spoilers, we're going to talk about this a lot. We're going to talk about it, but I mean, this came out 20 years ago this year, so because 2003, so 20 years exact. So on the 20th anniversary of Return of the King, if you all want to do marathons, feel free to do it because it's a fitting year. You only have a couple months, or I guess when this comes out, about a month.
The release date is December 16th, 2003. So almost exactly around the time that this episode is coming out.
So on December 16th, you could do a marathon. I don't know what day that falls in, but I don't know. So spoiler alert. And then before we get into kind of the synopsis or kind of retelling the tale in a very short, condensed form, we can reveal the final food. And the reason I did the jester jig of the berries and cream is because we have
berries and cream.
Berries and cream. Oh wait, I'm not
a peasant.
Yeah, and I shouldn't do it without you. Not saying it.
My crown came up. You know what? At this point, it's routine. I didn't take a picture of the food.
Oh yeah. So it might as well.
At this point. So, and we gotta get the dirty water.
Oh yeah. So a lot of the times when they're drinking water, it's just from like a river or something like gross. So we have dirty water.
Dirty water.
And it's legit dirty water.
It's legit dirty water. It tastes... Let me get a sip. Oh, doesn't it taste just dirty?
Yeah, dirty.
Dirty water.
Nice. And so, yeah, this is the berries and cream.
But this should be good. So I'll explain this a little bit. They're at the, oh, look at this little baby grape. That's so funny.
Aw, so
Anyway,
cute.
there's the one famous scene in the movie, in this movie in particular, is the scene of the king, not the king Aragorn the king, but the quote-unquote king. He's not really the king, who is of the, what's this big city that the final battle's in? I can't even think of it. But the king who's like he's kind of an antagonist in this movie because he's just kind of a jerk.
It's not Gondor, is it? Or is it Gondor?
I don't know. But anyway,
since this has been a really long time since I've fully watched everything, the names and stuff are starting to escape me.
It's very recent that I watched this, and yet the names still escape me. So, but no, it's Denethor. He's kind of the reigning or the temporary leader of this city where the final battle takes place, and it's a pretty famous or like well-remembered scene when he's eating at the end there, when he's eating like those tomatoes and grapes and all those different things, and he just eats it so gross and it goes down his chin. And it's during the moment in which his son Faramir is going out to battle.
Was that also when Pippin was singing to him too?
I think
he
was
during
singing
that time too.
So Pippin was singing this beautiful song, and this guy is a jerk, and he's just eating all this food. And Faramir, his son, this king's son, he sends his son out to battle, which is a losing battle. Because this is before the end battle when they have reinforcements. But he sends his son, you need to go out there and do this. And Gandalf is like, this is, they shouldn't be doing this. And he's like, I'm not going to listen to them. You need to go. He goes out there, and his son goes to die, essentially.
Yeah.
But he actually doesn't die. He almost dies, but doesn't quite. But in the middle of this, he's eating grapes and tomatoes and different things. So that's why we got the grapes. And at the end of the movie, when Sam and Frodo are on the side of, I think it's when they're on the side of Mount Doom after they've already destroyed the ring, or maybe it's right before. I'm trying to remember in my mind. But I did make note of this because I wanted to do this for the pod. Sam was talking about, can you just imagine what it'll be like when we can get back to the Shire and we'll have some strawberries and cream? And so they're kind of at this moment where they're starving. They're probably thirsty. They've been on this adventure that's such a long adventure. They have almost died multiple times. And so now they're to the point where they're just dreaming of the future of this, of what they could do. And the first thing that he says is he wants berries and cream.
Yeah.
And so they never actually eat it in the movie, but we have some berries and cream today in honor of Frodo and Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah,
we're going to have some berries and cream and some grapes. So it's just
which grapes. I like fruit, It's not.
Yeah. And so like we explained last episode, we're ending the series with the dessert. We had the charcuterie appetizer, the stew main meal, and then we're having
the dessert.
Dessert.
Yeah. And fruit's a good dessert.
Fruit is a great dessert.
It's a sleeper.
And you add a little cream.
Berries and cream.
Berries and cream.
Let me try
that. Get
that.
jiggy with it, Jester.
Berries and cream. Oh, I almost choked on a grape.
Don't choke on a grape.
Oh, my goodness.
I love strawberries with cream, especially if we had like an angel food cake. That's an elite combo.
That really is. Man, I really inhaled the wrong side of that grape.
That's good.
Oh, here we go.
That is an elite combo. I am a lover of angel food cake with some strawberries, some fresh strawberries, and some just whipped cream on top.
Just sprinkle some sugar on it too.
Might as well.
Oh, that was so good.
Berries and cream. Wait, why am I doing it?
Oh yeah, good point. Oh man,
I'll try to be nice to you and not want to do it every 10 seconds.
Yeah, you got to rinse down
that's what I want to do
with this dirty water.
I might. Yeah, honestly, that dirty water is pretty bad.
Yeah, that's probably the worst part of this. Honestly, I think
the grapes are the worst part.
Really? I was gonna say.
I mean, the dirty water is dirty and bad.
If we didn't have the dirty water, I would rank this really high.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I don't remember what I ranked the candy on the Halloween episode, but I think it was pretty high just because it was candy.
You gave it a 10, I think.
Did I really? I could have. I don't remember. But I mean, this would be up there just because
Man.
can't go wrong with it. Man,
I
you're going
love
to
it.
eat this whole thing without me.
You better catch up.
Yeah, I'm getting close. Oh, man. Okay, let's go ahead and start ranking.
Let's rank it because
Mm.
the dirty water kind of hurts the whole ensemble.
Oh, I got my, it was cold.
Oh, your tooth start to
A
hurt?
little sensitive.
Well, your teeth are a little sensitive?
Mm-hmm.
Your little teeth were a little sensitive?
A little bit.
Jester?
Quit making fun of me. So this is going to be my rating. You want me to go or you want to go?
You go. I haven't even written it yet.
Jinx. I'll do a 6.9.
Wow, that low?
Yeah. Well, the dirty water really takes it down. I mean,
I'm still giving it an 8.1.
Whoa. Even with the dirty water.
Even with the dirty water. The
Yeah.
dirty water is bad, but it's drinkable.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like drinking raw egg.
It just takes, I think, more of the experience out of me for me because you have to do it combined.
Yeah.
So it's just
It would have been one
lot.
of the higher ranked ones because grapes are grapes. They're good.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to it. This, an elite combo, strawberries and cream,
Mm-hmm.
dirty water. Dirty water.
Yeah.
That's a song we came up with.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I forgot to get the harmony with that. All right.
Dirty water.
That was I don't know.
Yeah, that was okay.
It's okay. We'll do it.
We need to work on it, but
yeah, we'll work on it later. Maybe have a
that's
whole
fine.
song dedicated to it.
That's true. We could write that song.
Yeah, we could. So let's go ahead and dive into
Strawberries
the.
and cream and dirty water.
Ooh, what a combo!
Throw it all in there.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about the synopsis of this. Kind of give a rundown for anyone who hasn't heard it or seen it or they need a refresher. If you want to go ahead and just kind of tackle that.
Yeah. So honestly, I'm just trying to retrace it back in my mind because when you watch
It's
10
a lot.
hours worth of content,
And it's
it
not
all kind
even-
of blends together.
And not even the extended version. Because if
Yeah.
you talk about these movies, and we didn't really touch on this in the last 2 episodes, if you talk about these movies to anyone, they always, if someone's like really into the Lord of the Rings film franchise, they usually say, have you seen the extended cut?
If you see extended.
And it makes it, you essentially get a whole nother movie added to it.
3 hours of content added, I believe.
Yeah. So
Insane.
even without the extended cut, it's still a lot to unpack.
Mm-hmm. But in this third movie, is the Return of the King. Hence the name.
Yeah.
Really, Aragorn becomes a focus in this film, even though I guess Frodo is still obviously a focus. After Helm's Deep, they leave and go to, and I'm still blanking the name of this big city. It's like this big white city that's really tall.
Yeah.
And then, like we had talked about, with that evil, not really evil, but just kind of jerk king that's taken over the.
Yeah, not even really a king.
He's not even really a king.
Just a jerk.
He's just a jerk.
Yeah.
They go there and they're like, hey, essentially Sauron's army is going to be coming after you. We need to get ready. And so we need to team up with the other king, Theoden, and all of his people and work together and try and fight Sauron. And he was like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
I hate those guys. And he is Boromir and Faramir's dad. And he keeps setting them all back through this whole thing of like, we're not doing this. We're not, I don't want to do this. But then he sends Faramir and his people out, like I already said, to their death almost. Most of them die. Faramir doesn't actually die, and they're able to save him. And all while this is happening, Gandalf and Pippin and Merry are already there. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are with Theoden, and they are making their way to this city.
Yeah.
Because Gandalf sent, I believe it was Pippin, or it may have been one Pippin or Merry up to light the beacon because the king's like, we're not lighting the beacon.
Yeah.
He lit the beacon, and that was what united the rest. That's what united the humans essentially in that moment. Now Theoden and his army knew, okay, we need to head this way, with the help of Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli, and they start heading their way there, all while Frodo and Sam and Gollum are still trying to head to Mordor. They run into some spiders and some more orcs and goblins.
Yeah.
And Frodo almost dies a million times, and Sam comes in clutch every single time.
Every single time.
That's why he's the best, and Frodo can just suck it because Samwise is better than him.
Yeah.
But anyway.
You are a huge Samwise fan.
I am, because I just feel like he doesn't get enough love.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just because I've not been super, involved in the Lord of the Rings community because I hadn't seen it before.
Yeah.
But you always see Frodo everything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, where is the Samwise the Brave love?
Right.
He came in clutch so many different times, and we can talk about that a little bit more. But eventually they get all together, except for Sam and Frodo and Gollum. They get all together. They fight Sauron's army. They succeed with the help of the army of the dead that Aragorn summons because he's the king. He's the only person that can summon the army of the dead.
Right.
So then they're like, okay, we defeated this big army, but there's still more to come.
Yeah.
And so, but they know that Frodo's getting close to the mountain, so they're like, okay, let's make a distraction. So they go to the gates of Mordor and basically go to their death to make a distraction, because they're like, this is a battle we're going to lose, but we have to do this to make a distraction so that Frodo can make it to the mountain. He makes it to the mountain, almost doesn't throw the ring in, but if it weren't for Sam, then they would have lost. But luckily, Gollum and the ring both fall in and die. I guess maybe not luckily, because I feel like maybe Gollum could have made a comeback if he didn't fall and die. Because now that the ring was gone, he was able to, that's the thing that kind of corrupted him.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, that's essentially the end of the movie. They destroy the ring. Sauron just falls. Once it gets destroyed. Their whole army essentially gets destroyed. Yeah. And that's the end of it. They succeed, and Frodo doesn't still know who Legolas is. Yeah.
Because once they regather, and because Frodo, towards the end, and this is bringing back memories, towards the end you think Frodo's actually going to be stuck and behind, but then that's when the eagles come.
Yeah, that's when and that's the moment when Sam and Frodo are talking about the strawberries and cream, and then Gandalf flies in on these big eagles. Yeah. But one thing that's kind of the synopsis, but one thing that I wanted to talk about specifically, and maybe you have more insight into this, is the ending of the movie. Because the ending of the movie, everyone, the band's all back together. They meet back up in Rivendell, I believe, and they're like, oh yeah, we did it. Happy, ha ha ha, we did it. And then Gandalf and Bilbo are like, okay, we're going to leave now, and we're going to go on this boat, and we're going to leave. And then Frodo's like, I will come too. But they don't, do they say where they're going? They may say a name, but I don't feel like they explained it. And it just feels so random that Frodo's like, all right, I have had my adventure. Now I will go off into the winds of time, I suppose.
I honestly, and maybe it's more elaborate in the book.
Yeah, it may be, but it just feels like, I mean, it wasn't a bad ending necessarily, but it just felt like random.
Yeah. Like I said, maybe they explain it more in the book, and but I think it was more just kind of just showing that like Frodo's at peace now, and he's with people that he loves, and I think it was just kind of like saying like everything is good at this point, kind of thing. Oh, I dropped no. Berries and cream.
Get jiggy with it.
Berries
Jester.
And cream.
Dang it. I got my
Uh-oh.
my crown.
You're making all kinds of messes.
Oh no. I'm making a mess.
You got it in your beard too.
What at this point? Whatever.
Oh, those were frozen.
Man, I dropped my
my
crown.
Well, you can't tell me to get jiggy with it if you don't have your
I
thing.
don't really want to get up and put it back on, if I'm honest.
Okay, then I can't do it anymore.
Well, whatever. I'm still going to make you do it. But there are a couple things. What were we going to say?
I was going to say, and you were probably going to say the same thing I was going to say, but there was a couple things from last episode.
So I was kind of. So you said that there's one actor in this that you claim to be bad.
Yeah, I'm very annoyed with his character, and it's not necessarily with his role in the movie. I think it's just, I don't know, something about this character and his arrogance and just like, I think maybe that's exactly what they wanted from him, so they played that role. But it was, do you remember Gothmog? So
no.
he's like, here, I'll show you the picture because I have it pulled up here.
Oh.
This guy.
So he's but he didn't really have much of a role, did he?
He still had a pretty big role because he was just, they refer to him as like one of the most ruthless of Sauron's minions. Okay. So he led it. There was a scene I always remember, which is kind of, it's still kind of annoying for me, but where they launch the catapult and it just essentially lands right next to him, and they made like a whole big deal about it, and he like spits on him, just like. I don't know. Something about him just was really annoying to me. But the actor was also he also played the Witch King at the end.
Wait, the Witch King? Who's that?
He's the guy that fought. What's the lady's name? Ewan, who was dressed up like a man. And where she says, where he's no man can defeat me, and then she takes off her helmet and she's like, I'm no man. So he actually plays. I believe he plays both characters. I believe he plays Gothmog and the Witch King.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Gothmog was just really annoying to me.
See, I don't feel like he played a super big role, and I really don't. I don't know if I necessarily agree. Like, I feel like it was fine.
But
maybe that's your spicy take.
It could be a spicy take, but I feel like there's a lot of other people who think he's annoying. But
maybe.
I think what led me to think about him specifically is because we made kind of the realization that almost every movie there was no flaw in terms of performance or in terms of character. And I would say would be the lacking character in my mind, but it's so small. And
there's not much of a performance to be had, so it's not.
I mean, he had a few parts. I mean, he essentially led the army, and there were a few other moments with him in particular. But I mean, it's a long movie, so there, comparatively to the whole movie, it's a small part, but it's still enough, to kind of have some kind of relevance. But he, I didn't like it.
There's one particular thing that we talked about that we were going to mention in this episode as well is Aragorn and Arwen's relationship. And this was one qualm, I suppose, that I had with the entire movie or the entire series, was that Arwen's character is like just shouldn't exist. And maybe that's a spicy take as well. Like, not that she shouldn't exist, and maybe someone who's read the books can have more insight into this.
Well, she killed the Witch King.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no, you're talking about... Oh, sorry. I was getting
Arwen,
confused.
she is the elf that is basically... The only purpose that she serves is that she is a means of motivation for Aragorn to do things that he's doing.
Yeah.
Which I guess is fine, but
it's the love of his life.
I feel like they're putting so much significance into her as a character, even though she shows up almost never. Like she has the one part in the first movie where she saves the hobbits and helps them get to Rivendell. Yeah. Because they're almost there, and she helps them. That's the only part she's ever in any sort of action. Yeah. And she has some lovey-dovey moments with Aragorn, but very few. I feel like she was just wasted as a character. Yeah. And probably could have just not existed.
And then the second movie, I think they did make a huge part about, if you stay here in Middle-earth, then you will outlive him, so you might as well leave and be... but, I mean, that's a good point. That's a valid point because... but we're also doing from the movie... standpoint too, so maybe in the book there is a lot more relevance.
I feel like there might be more relevance in the book.
Is this mine? Did I leave mine in there? I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna.
I think I'm done
anyways.
anyway. Time for grapes. Yeah. But I just feel like I thought she was gonna have a much major role. You look at the posters for the movies. She's in, I think, all of the posters. She is, listed on there. When you look up this movie, she's listed. Well, I guess she's listed a little bit further down for Return of the King.
Do you think it was because
in the top 10 actors of the movie, and then you go to Lord of the Rings 2. I think she was listed as the fifth actor on the list, ahead of Samwise and ahead of Gandalf. And I guess this is just the way that Google has ordered them. But in general, her character, I feel like, is in a lot of promotion, and she's in the the posters, mentioned a lot in outside of the movie, but then inside of the movie, where is she?
Yeah, well, and I mean, it could even be just a play on marketing, because at the time, Liv Tyler was huge. Or
that might be why.
Late 90s, early 2000s. Maybe that was the pick, is okay, we want you to attract major audiences, because a lot of the people in the movie, you probably at the time, and I could be wrong for saying this, you at the time probably didn't recognize most of the people who are in it, with the exception of what's his name, Sean Astin.
Mm-hmm.
With his role in Rudy, and then Elijah Wood's role. He's had a few growing up as kind of a child.
Yeah, but even still, that they're very young when this was filmed. I think I did the math. He was Elijah Wood was 18 or 19 when he did these movies.
Yeah.
And actually, when the movies came out, but they were filmed before.
Yeah.
And actually, as far as from what I've heard, all three of these films were filmed ahead of time altogether.
Yeah.
Which is very smart.
They do that with a lot. They did that with Pirates of the Caribbean too, I think.
Yeah, but I feel like you don't get that much more anymore. A lot of times you run into those issues things like Stranger Things, speaking of Sean Astin, where you now they're grown adults, and I feel like not much time has passed, but they try to make it seem like time has passed.
Right.
But you look at them in the first season versus now, it has such a completely different feel, because it's these little kids versus these adults.
Right.
And it's super interesting. But it's very smart for them to have filmed everything all together. You also get a great consistency across the films in terms of production and editing and just the feel altogether, because I guess
it keeps you in that time frame.
Yeah, and I guess there wouldn't be that big of a difference, but if they're filmed at different times, if you were to look into it, you could tell. And it would make it feel a little bit different. But there is a great cohesiveness across all three of these films.
Because if you think about it, from the time that Frodo or Gandalf went to the Shire to the very end where Gandalf, Frodo, and Bilbo, ride off into the sunset, what is that timeline? It has to be maybe a couple months, maybe.
Yeah.
But to give that feel that that's actually happening within a couple months, you would kind of have to record it all at the same time.
Yeah, because if you separate it, that's the other thing, is I feel like it likely made it easier for production in that they could be much more consistent in the costumes and the way the characters looked, because they might have lost 10 pounds or gained 10 pounds in between movies.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of times when these big budget films, they're you have to stay the way you are. But they're not going to replace Elijah Wood. If he were to gain 30 pounds in between both of filming the first versus the third movie, then that could have definitely thrown it off
for sure.
But I think it's smart that they have done that. I wish that more things would do that, but it's more of a money game than anything, because if it were up to the creators and up to the directors, I think they would almost every time. But it's really a money game, because there's been numerous movies that they're okay, this is going to be the start of something big. Yeah. So let's start this, and we're going to put a lot of money into it, but then it flops.
Right.
And so they don't want to put all the money in to film 3 movies, but then the first one flops.
Yeah.
That's the risk you take with something like this.
And it's a huge gamble.
Yeah, because if you go into this going... Now, obviously, Lord of the Rings had the books to back it up.
Oh, yeah.
So that helped a lot. But if you went into this and you're like, okay, let's spend hundreds of millions of dollars to film all these movies all at once for 3 movies, it's a risk that you take that the first movie might be horrible and it might flop and you're going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so that's really all this is a money game at this point. And I think that's why people don't do it as often.
Yeah,
anymore.
and that's actually a really good point because I think I saw or read somewhere or even heard on a podcast where like at least Merry and Pippin, for example, I think they signed a contract or had some understanding that they wouldn't get any royalties. So anything that has to do with Lord of the Rings, if you buy like, a set with Pippin and Merry in it, they don't get any of it. And I'm pretty sure that was mentioned, and I can do more research on it. But so they're cutting costs with a lot of the actors and actresses, it sounds like. And especially if, I imagine with royalties for this movie,
that'd be insane.
It's insane amount. But I'll definitely do more research, and if others want to do research on their own time. But I'm pretty sure that's what I heard is that. And I guess it kind of makes sense is you pay less for the actors and hoping that, they do well, and then, pay more for like, the cinematography, for the effects, for the makeup, all that stuff. So you kind of have to be smart about that, but it's still a huge gamble on whether or not it's going to make money. And, thankfully they hit it right and yeah.
So, this is kind of an interesting thing, talking about money. So, on average, they're all very close. Basically, each movie cost about $94 million to make.
Oh, wow.
$94 million, essentially $100 million for each movie. Can you guess how much money all 3 movies made combined? Like their worldwide grossing,
all 3 of them,
all 3 combined. So it cost $300 million to make all the movies combined, just shy of $300 million to make all of them. How much did they make in the box office?
I'm gonna say, altogether, all 3, $4.3 billion.
You're actually short. I thought you were gonna.
Oh, what's
so? It's $2.991 billion.
Oh, okay.
So
I was over.
You were over. That's what I meant.
Man, so close.
Yeah. So just shy of $3 billion. So they spent $300 million and made just shy of $3 billion.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's insane.
But
yeah, because I'm trying to think in terms of like the highest grossing movies of all time.
Which we know the Avatars are in there. We've talked about this before.
We talked about this before, but I just am wondering. Yeah, actually, that's insane that all 3 of the Lord of the Rings movies made about the same money as Avatar did.
Crazy.
All 3 of them combined.
Crazy.
Which is insane. But all 3 of those movies are in the top 50 earnings of all time of all movies. Return of the King, $1.1 billion alone. Actually, maybe they're not in the top 50. Only Return of the King is.
And I just looked up Peter Jackson. He's a billionaire now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is what gave him most of his wealth, but
and he's done other things, but I'm sure this has a big part to do with it.
Like King Kong with Jack Black.
Yep. And then of course Hobbit as well. The Hobbit.
Oh yeah.
It comes in at number 50 exactly, just making right over $1 billion.
Whoa.
So it actually made more money than the other 2 Lord of the Rings movies, the first 2.
And I think it was the hype.
Yeah, it's the hype because the first 2 movies, people are just getting even used to this being a movie series anyway. By the time the 3rd one came out, everyone was on board, and that's why the Return of the King was as big as it was.
Right.
And then, 9 more years later, The Hobbit comes out. So you have all those people building up to that, and The Hobbit comes up not far behind Return of the King as well. So, yeah, it's Lord of the Rings, Return of the King peaked at number 2 in the box office.
Oh, okay.
Because it came out before Avatar, before Endgame, before the second Avatar. So it peaked at number 2. So it was right behind, I believe, Titanic.
Wow.
When it had came out and made all that money.
Man.
So back in 2003, it was the number 2 highest grossing film of all time.
Wow.
Now it's all the way down to 29.
Yeah.
Which
well, I mean, if you think about it, shortly after that is when Marvel started their momentum.
And I think that's very, very interesting because the argument, or not the argument, but the thing you hear a lot nowadays is that movies are dying. Movie theaters are dying. And to some extent they are, but most of the top earning movies have been in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And you might say, well, it's because of inflation, this thing and that, but this all accounts for inflation and everything.
Well, it could.
Sure. And so.
But I think a huge impact would, even though that's within the last 10 years, if you think about what's happened within the last 5 years.
That's true. That might make the difference.
Yeah,
but
that was, I think, the biggest gut
But
punch.
obviously, there are a lot of movies that were made a long time ago that that made a lot of money when you adjust for inflation.
Yeah.
But there's just, people are still going out and seeing movies.
Yeah.
It's just that it takes the right movie, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and then back in the day, you didn't really have any other way of watching the movies without going to get them. Now we've made it so easy to access everything with streaming. And
yeah, that definitely plays a role in them. But it is encouraging to see movies, still being able to pull these kind of numbers.
Yeah.
The fact that 2 movies in 2023 are in the top 20 movies of all time, Barbie and Super Mario Bros.
Yeah.
So, which is pretty crazy to think, because in 2023, I'm thinking, what movies came out this year that were good and that made a lot of money?
Yeah.
And it's hard to think of very many movies this year, honestly.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah. And so, but these 2 came out and now they killed it.
Yeah.
They made a bunch of money. There's a few up here in the top 20 that were in 2022 and 2019. So it's pretty...
Yeah, I think I don't know if I mentioned this before or not, but Barbie broke the record for the highest grossing movie by a female director.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I might have said that before on this, but that's pretty crazy too. But
yep, it's at number 14.
Yeah.
Number 14.
So
and it peaked at 14 as well. It's the highest it's been.
Crazy.
So
I guess wrapping up this marathon, talking about Lord of the Rings, your new experiences to Lord of the Rings. Any closing thoughts or any thoughts in general or things you would like to leave our munchies with as we wrap up the marathon?
I would say Samwise needs more love. That's my closing remark, I suppose.
Yeah.
I just feel like he carried the last movie literally and figuratively.
Yeah, he carried Frodo.
He carried Frodo.
He said,
literally
I can't
and
carry it for you, but I can carry you.
Yeah, he carried the last movie, and I feel like he doesn't get enough love.
That's a spicy take. Saying that Sam carried the movie. Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess he carried he carried
because no one puts Samwise Gamgee as someone who carried the movie.
Okay,
of Return of the
well,
Kings.
I would say he carried his portion of the movie.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's the whole thing of Aragorn, and I guess Aragorn carried the movie. And that's why I do love Aragorn's character as well. He was the king. He was the king that has been returning. But Sam carried his portion of the movie.
Right. Yeah, I could see that.
His whole adventure.
Oh, yeah. If it wasn't for Sam, Frodo would be toast. We talked about this, but Frodo would be gone.
And I think and obviously I know it's justified because the ring had corrupted his mind, but I was just ready to punch Frodo, and I'm like, how does this guy have so much love?
Yeah.
I'm like, really? He doesn't deserve the love that he gets. And I know he's essentially the main character of the whole. If you had to name a main character, it would be Frodo of the whole series.
Yeah, if you were to give a clue for someone to guess this movie, most of the time people would say Frodo.
Yeah,
as
Frodo.
the first one.
Because even though I would argue to say that Aragorn is just as much of a main character as Frodo is, Frodo is definitely the one who gets the spotlight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, get Sam in that spotlight a little bit. He deserves he deserves a portion of the glory that Frodo gets.
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve the portion of glory that Aragorn gets, because Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli and their whole thing, they get what they deserve, but I feel like Frodo gets way more than he deserves. I didn't even know who Samwise was before watching this.
Yeah.
Like, I had no, because the movie had never been spoiled. I knew that Sean Astin was in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But I thought he just had a smaller role.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I had heard like, because when he was in Stranger Things, everyone's like, oh yeah, everyone knows him from Stranger Things, but I remember him from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I guess he's in Lord of the Rings, just like a small role. And I'm like,
no, he was
Bro carried this last movie. Literally.
Spicy take.
So anyway, I guess that's my closing remark.
Yeah.
Is that
Sam carried this movie?
Sam carried this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my closing remark is that, I said it in, the last couple episodes, but this, I mean, is the greatest trilogy of all time. Nothing, some can maybe come close to it, but nothing compares to the experiences that I have had as, a film lover, a story lover, as Lord of the Rings has, and Lord of the Rings has always had that special place in my heart, even though like I'm beating myself up for the last few episodes, because a lot of these I'm refreshing my mind, because a lot of this I forget. Believe it or not, I knew quite a bit before, but it's a lot of content to take in, a lot of story, so things are going to slip up. So you say it's
the greatest, but would you call it your favorite trilogy of all time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even think I have one that. I mean, we can talk about this more later of like what, and if you could even message us if you think there's a better trilogy than Lord of the Rings. Let us know. We could even do a marathon of that. But as of right now, I don't see another trilogy in my own personal experience that I think is better than Lord of the Rings.
I think now obviously there's a difference. We talked about this last time. There's a difference between the best trilogy and your favorite trilogy.
True.
I would agree in saying that this is the best trilogy of all time, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite, just because I don't have that emotional attachment, never grew up watching it. I just watched it for the first time. I will say objectively, there were near to no misses in this whole trilogy.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes it the best, is just objectively it's one of the best trilogy.
And I can't remember, what did you say your favorite was, or did you say?
I don't know if it's hard for me to name a favorite. I am a lover of the Back to the Future movies.
Yeah, those are good.
I love the Back to the Future movies. Those are ones that I grew up watching a lot.
The Guardians trilogy, I know.
Guardians trilogy is up there as well. That's probably the best Marvel trilogy.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's probably a number of different things. Depending on the day, my favorite might change.
Yeah.
And that's honestly with everybody. I'm sure one moment something's your favorite and the next one is your other favorite. But at least for Lord of the Rings case, I think objectively it's hard to argue that this being the best trilogy. One of the best.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's hard to argue.
Yeah, and I don't know. The others I think that come to mind, if you were focusing more to breaking up the trilogies, Star Wars comes to mind as the original trilogy.
The original trilogy.
Episode 4 through 6. That could be, just because it's so iconic, and in terms of film, like it blew everyone's mind, because the time that it came out, you had never seen anything really like that. So that's another one that comes to mind. But I mean, still, I think as of right now, it may even be way far ahead of my second place in terms of greatest trilogy of all time.
Well, it's hard to argue with it.
Yeah, it's so good.
So I guess we gotta rate this.
Yeah, let's rate it. So we both said that this is kind of the middle of
the middle of the three.
Yeah,
and I think we're gonna have the exact same score.
Well, let's find out. 3, 2, 1.
9.1.
Yep, 9.1. Yep. I knew this was gonna happen
because you did 9.0,
9.0 or 9.0,
9.0, 9.2, and then 9.1.
Yeah.
I did 9.3, 8.9. And then 9.1.
Yeah, so we both averaged it out.
You have exactly 1 point in between yours, and I have exactly 2 points.
2 points, yeah. So we average it out exactly. So that means our overall for the marathon rating
is 9.1.
9.1.
Hey,
yeah.
9.1.
9.1. If you want to see a 9.1 trilogy.
I guess there's still room for improvement. 9.1, we're saying this is the best trilogy of all time.
Yeah.
Where's the 10 out of 10 trilogy?
Yeah.
Yet to be made, I suppose.
Yeah. I think I said this early on in either episode 1 or 2, is that I don't think I will ever rate a movie a 10. I just don't. I'm the type of person.
I feel like there's going to be some times where I might. I feel like I could rate movies at 10 out of 10 if I do it more for a, not a, kind of more for like a meme. You know what I mean? Like, this movie's a 10 out of 10.
You're right.
You know,
but like a true 10 out of 10 for me, and I feel like that's what I always run into, because I'm the type of person to always find faults in things, and so when or especially with movies, so
pessimist.
If people say, well, I guess I hate to say that, but maybe, but some some people may say, oh, this is the greatest whatever you have to see, and I'm like, I'll see about that. And so I usually go in with
let me be the judge.
Yeah, it's like, and so I have my notebook and pen with me just so I can like mark things off like a scoreboard, but I don't know.
Like a true critic.
Yeah.
Got your notes.
Exactly. So, but
so the what were you going to say?
I was going to say, nonetheless, I mean, great movie, good food, honestly.
Yeah,
we rated it okay.
I was going to say the worst thing about this whole movie series is the dirty water.
Dirty water.
That's probably the worst thing.
Yeah, it was. The dirty water.
That
was pretty
and
bad.
probably the inclusion of Arwen in it.
Yeah.
That's a hot take.
Liv Tyler. Yeah, Liv Tyler.
I think I wouldn't be as mad about it if she weren't in all the promotional materials as much.
Well, you got to get people in somehow,
Yeah.
If they know nothing about Lord of the Rings, they at least at the time knew who Liv Tyler was.
Yeah, I guess so.
So all right,
I guess I better get my Cinesnack. I got to figure out a movie real quick.
You better hurry up.
So, what we're going to do while I'm doing that is get jiggy with it.
You don't have your crown on. We decided earlier on in the episode.
You decided. I didn't decide. I was going to look at a list of movies because I am trying to figure out what I should do for my Cinesnack. I suppose I should do this beforehand, but what are you going to do?
Well, another public service announcement. Make sure that you watch Lord of the Rings if you haven't already.
Oh, yeah.
You are missing out on a big experience of your life. So I recommend that. For sure.
Okay. I got my... Well, no. Yeah.
Are you afraid that I'll guess it? Is that why? Yeah, so a lot of things happening or have happened with this movie. We obviously didn't have time, even in 3 full episodes, to talk about every intricate detail about this movie. But, I mean, you can definitely do it on your own. Because we didn't even talk about... Because Sam, at the end, it revealed that he even had a family, too, right? Like
that was kind of the ending. That was one thing that was nice, is that even though I feel like as a pop culture, Sam doesn't get enough love, I feel like he got enough love at the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
He was able to... He had a family.
He got all the love that he needed or wanted.
He had the love that all that he wanted and needed.
For sure.
But everyone else... They don't hate him, but don't acknowledge him enough.
Yeah.
All right, so I have my movie.
Okay.
I guess I'll show the audience.
Yeah, I'll close my eyes.
All right. There you are, if you can see that. So let me figure out some hints.
3 clues, 2 minutes on the board, and yes or no questions. I always say it, just in case people are like, okay, what are they talking about? Because if this is the time that you started with CineSnacks, with CineBites, first of all, welcome. Thank you for listening in now. We've got some T-shirts, so if you want to support us. But this is essentially the game that we do in every episode towards the end. So thank you for playing along if you're listening to this.
I have 3 hints. And increasing helpfulness.
Okay.
I think that's a good thing to do. Increasing helpfulness.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
3, 2, 1, go. 1990s.
Nope.
1980s.
Nope.
2000s.
Nope.
2010s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 2010s so recent. Action.
No.
Fantasy.
Do you have a timer going? No.
I do.
Okay, because I missed my timer.
Comedy.
Yes.
So it's male lead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
White male lead.
Yeah.
Okay, or is it a group of people?
There's a group, but
Okay. Is it a Will Ferrell movie?
no. He might be. No, I don't think he's in it, but it's not. He's not the lead.
2010s. Is the male lead pretty well known?
Not super well known. You'd probably know him, but not super well known.
Okay. Is it a comedy around sports?
No.
Comedy around kids?
Yeah, it's a kids movie.
A kids movie. Okay. A comedy, 2010s. Is it animated?
Yes.
Okay. Is there music?
Yeah, but it's not a major role.
Is it a Disney movie?
No.
DreamWorks?
Oh shoot! Is it a DreamWorks?
Uh-oh.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Clue.
Dance.
Dance? Clue again.
Phone.
Phone? Dance, phone. And it's animated comedy with a white male lead. Okay, so the white male lead is like a voice actor, so that's probably why I don't know him super well, right? Okay.
Well, he's not known. He's not known as a voice actor though.
Okay. Phone.
He's just not a huge name.
Okay, another clue.
I'm gonna say bathroom.
What was it? Wait, phone, bathroom,
Dance.
and dance. Phone, bathroom,
Dance, phone, and bathroom.
2010s.
The last two are.
And it's not. Wait.
Changeable.
And it's not DreamWorks.
I don't think so. No.
Oh no.
Let me see. I don't think it is. I am looking at the poster and it doesn't say that. So no.
Dance.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not DreamWorks.
I'm out of time.
You're out of time?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel good about this.
I don't.
You're gonna know it. You're gonna know it. I don't know if you've seen it, but you know it.
Dance, phone.
Dance is not a huge part. I would say that there is like a scene where they dance. I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering correctly.
What happens if you give me a bad hint? Is that like a...
Well, I'm telling you right now that it's not... Yeah, right here. I think this is part of it.
Okay, and then you said bathroom?
Bathroom.
White male lead, but there's a few you could consider leads.
There's one lead, but there's like a little group of them that are part of it. But there is one guy who's leading.
Is bathroom and phone like a big part of it?
Phone is a bigger part. Bathroom is a smaller part.
I am gonna struggle with this. Okay, so let's think.
I feel good.
Let's trace back to 2010s.
Okay,
Where was I in the 2010s?
Where was I?
I wasn't really watching too many animated movies that didn't have music or wasn't, I guess, Disney. I should have asked if it's, like 2D or if it's like Pixar.
It's 4D.
Is it like Pixar? Well, I can't.
I'm not gonna get no more questions.
You
only asked DreamWorks.
Yeah. Let me hold on.
I'm not giving you.
Were there some questions that I missed that I should have asked that would have like sealed the deal? Or is it, or maybe not?
I don't know. I feel like it's just so. I don't know. I don't know what else you could have asked to get this. That's why I kind of chose it, because I think it would have been hard. I honestly don't know if you've ever seen it.
Okay. Phone.
But I would be very surprised if you have never heard of it and at least knew a little bit about it. So. Okay.
Phone, bathroom. Oh man, I don't even have
Come on.
a ounce of guessing.
I can smell my next win.
Yeah, probably
approaching.
Now I'm thinking of other questions I could have asked.
Well, you're right in answer. Your time's about up.
Yeah, it is.
I can confirm there is a dance scene.
Okay.
So I was right.
Okay. Oh, jeez.
Think about.
This is gonna be.
I was gonna give you a different hint other than bathroom, but I made it a little more vague. Okay. I said bathroom instead of something more specific because I didn't want to give it away.
Oh, well, it doesn't help me anyways.
Probably not.
All right, I put Spider-Man.
It's
because it's
the
not.
Emoji Movie.
I
have you ever seen it?
I've heard of it, but nothing in the emoji. I don't think I ever could have asked enough questions to.
Honestly, that's what I was thinking.
Movie.
I'm like, what could he have asked?
Yeah,
there's a scene where they're like they do just dance in the movie. Phone, like with emojis. And then,
I see.
And
I
then
see.
bathroom. I was gonna say poop because there's Patrick. Is it Patrick Stewart? Yeah, Patrick Stewart who plays poop.
Oh, okay.
The poop emoji, and that was a big thing that Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
He's playing poop. So I said bathroom instead of poop because I thought that would give it away.
Oh, okay.
But you might not even got it if I said poop.
I didn't know. I want to have. And I think the reason I didn't watch this is because I heard that it was absolutely awful.
Yeah, it was really bad.
So it just kind of escaped my mind.
It has 6% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, IMDb. I'm looking at it right now. 3.4.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I did see it though. I did see it. I don't know where I was in that moment in my life in 2017 where I wanted to put aside the time.
It was a low.
I put aside the time for an hour and a half to watch this movie. But so anyway, but the punishment.
Oh yeah, the punishment. So
the punishment that I have for you is we're gonna take this outside actually again. We're doing that a lot.
We're gonna take this outside.
We're gonna take this outside. And I wish I brought it over here with me, but we have a sword.
Oh.
Yeah, just like in Lord
like
of the
a
Rings.
real sword, or
no, it's not real,
but
it kind of is.
Oh.
And so I'm gonna throw things at you when you're holding this sword, and you're gonna have to try and
like deflect it or something?
them.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna try and pelt you with them, and you have the opportunity to defend yourself.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's do it.
Cut to that.
All right, let's do it.
All right. We're here doing the punishment for the Return of the King.
Return of the King.
This is now the second time I'm going to be throwing things at Casey outside for an episode. So we're going to start off easy with some large boulders. Yeah, you can see them. Here we go.
This is how good I am.
Oh, see, that was easy.
You underestimated my skills. Oh no! You're just still so close.
You got lucky with that football.
I did.
All right, we got a couple other things.
Football seen some other days. This one I'm kind of nervous about.
In true Lord of the Rings fashion, we have a bow and arrow. At least this time, you have a way to defend yourself, unlike I did.
Yeah.
When I got shot. Oh man, this thing is still jank.
Yeah.
Stand by. Stand by.
Watch my skills.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, I missed you.
I heard the whistle. It would have hit me.
It whistled.
Yeah.
All right. And now I just have some pebbles.
Okay.
Some little pebbles.
Okay. You keep stepping closer and closer. Oh! How many of those do you have?
Two more.
Keep getting closer.
Oh, yes!
I got my.
Got him!
Oh, man.
Back to the end of the show.
And we're back. I mean, it was an experience, you know. I mean, so let's you'll just have to yeah. You have to let me know your thoughts on that performance. I thought I did pretty good.
Whatever.
You know, but we'll see. But as we bid farewell to this grand finale of CineBites Lord of the Rings Marathon, where we've journeyed through the epic realms of Middle-earth with Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. We hope you've savored the cinematic and culinary delights as much as we have. Mm-hmm. Just as the characters' quests culminate in triumph, so does our exploration of food and film leave us with a sense of epic satisfaction. Thank you for joining us today. Stay tuned for more cinematic flavors in upcoming episodes. Make sure to follow us on YouTube and Instagram and hear our podcast weekly on all major podcast platforms. Until next time, bon appetit and happy viewing. Dirty water.
Dirty water.